Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm a little frazzled. My heart is beating. Give me some love when you sign in. I'm going to turn the other light on in the office. Whew. Okay, hello. Hi. Okay, immediately I see Jen. I just got off the phone with Jen because I had a minor crisis in my house. Not actually a crisis, but it was to me. As many of you know, I do not have any real children, but I have two fur babies, one of which just went totally MIA. She's freaking brilliant, and she can jump the fence. It's like a 4.5-foot fence. She can just clear it. She wasn't wearing her collar, and clearly I'm out of shape in the cardio world, and I'm sweating. Sorry. So I'm looking out the window because Jeremiah took off in the neighborhood and we're both screaming for the dog, and I'm like, I have to go live on Facebook and I have such a great topic and I gotta go see my people and all that. I'm halfway down the road. I'm on the phone with Jen and I'm like, crisis, blah, blah, blah. And I remember that I just changed out the laundry and she follows me everywhere. So I run into the garage, which is where our washer and dryer is, and she's just sitting there patiently, sweet, cute as can be. Crisis averted. She's right here. So I'm going to let them stay in my office while I do Facebook Live because I'm glad I still have them. And I have all these, I don't know if y'all know what these are. They look like this. They're these little seeds. I don't know. They're in the grass everywhere in Texas, and they stick to everything. They stick to the dogs. And apparently they stick to my clothes because I was running through the forest looking for my child. And I went to pull my pants up, and like a true organizer, I have clips all over my body in case I ever need to pull my hair back. So, okay. Oh, there she goes. I found her. Okay, I'm going to close the office now because he's here. She was in the garage. Okay. I'm super excited to be here with everybody. Thank you, everyone, for logging in. We've already got 18 viewers. Woo woo! I have two friends that are on tonight. One is a friend from back home in Tyler, and she joined the group and was looking to follow me, and she's here. Her name there is Mare Bear, and if you see her, say hello. She's interested in becoming more organized. I don't know if she knows about becoming a professional organizer, but we're going to tell her tonight. Really glad that you're here with us. My other girlfriend is Whitney Holt, and she was in the same sorority as me at A&M before I transferred out to California. She's a badass. She's an organizer I think in Houston. So in a couple of other areas maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Whitney. I feel like maybe it was Houston and maybe San Antonio. So just correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am. Tonight we're going to talk about 5 questions plus 3 because I maybe wrote down 8 questions. That my clients actually ask me, so that you can be prepared for these answers when your clients ask these questions as well. They're usually going to happen in the consult, but they may happen along the way in your sessions. I need to get a little hydrated, and I'm going to do a plug for Austin. I'm not a beer drinker, and I don't have any wine, but I have this. It's called cider, and it's made here in Austin. It's called Austin E-Ciders, and I just think it's so good. And you got to be dangerous because it's also like apple juice. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. Hope everybody has a drink. And here's my funny koozie that I got when I got engaged. My girlfriend got me this one that says, I said yes. And Jared says, that's what she said. So I'm going to use my koozie tonight and drink my Austin East cider. And my heart is happy because my dog is home. And I was so excited to do Facebook tonight. So I called Jen like, oh no, I don't want to cancel. I really excited to see everybody and be on. It's been a month. I host every last Tuesday of the month, so this is my Tuesday. Okay, oops. I'm so graceful. Okay, Whitney said she is in San Antonio, Houston, and College Station, and Austin, all in Texas. Girl, that's awesome. This is totally unrelated, but I'm looking for an organizer to refer to a family friend who just moved to the Houston area. So Whitney, if that's you or if anybody else is interested in doing that, please send me a private message on Facebook with your contact information so I can send the options their way. And I also have a prospective client in San Marcos who is looking for an organizer. So that's not something that I can fit in my schedule right now to travel for those jobs. But if you can, and if you're in that area, or if you want to travel and gain experience, these are two awesome clients that I would love to send your way and help you out. I see Danielle is here, Alicia, Raynette, Katie, Sandy, Dawn, of course. Hey, my girl. Welcome to motherhood. Yeah, that's funny you say that because my other neighbor, I didn't talk about another one, but my neighbor walked out because I was screaming my dog's name, Bloody Murder, and whistling louder than I've ever whistled before, so I'm very proud of that. And he comes out with 2 cooking gloves on, like oven mitts, and he's in his shorts with no shirt on, and he's like, what's going on? Where's your dogs? I'm like, crisis averted. I need to go get on Facebook Live, but thanks very much. And he said, I was ready to get the kids on their bikes, and we were going to go help you find your dog. And I'm saying this because Dawn said, welcome to motherhood. I said, yeah, what's it like when you have real kids? Like, oh my God, what about when they turn 16? Like, my kids are not going to have a car. They can have a scooter, possibly with a motor, and otherwise I'll drive them wherever they need to go because I'll never get any sleep waiting for kids to come home. Melissa, yes, private message me on Facebook. I'm going to send everyone's contacts to my references or to my clients so that I don't have any favoritism over anybody, and they can go through your Facebook, your website, maybe your Instagram, and just sort of check out what kind of organizer you are, get a feel for your personality, and then I'll let them contact you from there so that it doesn't look like I'm just plugging one person or, like I said, having favoritism for anyone. So, I told you about my clients in Houston and San Marcos, and I told you what we're talking about tonight, questions that my clients actually ask me, so I can dispel any myths or worries that you might have, so you can prepare these answers for yourself. I don't care if they're exactly the same as my answers, as long as they resonate with you and they're true for you, feel free to use my answers. If you feel like yours are a little bit different, tweak them so they make sense for you and for your story. So your clients, you need to definitely be authentic for your clients, so if you give them an answer that isn't really your personality, they'll probably be able to tell, and they probably won't buy a package from you, and then you won't have any monies. But if you do it right and you make them trust you and you have all your answers prepared and you deliver everything confidently, they'll say, where do I sign? And I want your highest package and pay you up front. Oh, okay, here, no problem. And you'll walk out with a check. So let's jump in. And I also really quickly want to say something about the masterclass. I know we always talk about it, but it's awesome. It's so awesome, and it's where we're able to go much deeper into the client process. So everybody has all these questions about organizing. If you haven't taken the free course, like Mary and I know Mary hasn't done it, and I know Whitney hasn't done it since y'all are brand new, but anybody else, I was trying to think of a name that I saw in the group today that was brand new. If you haven't taken the free email course, Jen, who created this badass group, created a 7-day free email course that talks about, so you're interested in becoming a professional organizer. Here's some things that you should do to get started. Here's a checklist. I mean, she walks you through a checklist of what you should do to get started if you're thinking about becoming a professional organizer. So after everybody does that and falls in love with it, then they always have these deeper questions. That's where the masterclass comes in, and we really dive into it. We have a separate Facebook private group where anybody who's in the masterclass is a part of that, and we're able to post pictures of our client, not of our clients, but of our client homes, to get advice, feedback, talk about uncomfortable client situations, and sort of see how they handled it, how we should handle it, and just get advice there. And then how in the world do you structure a professional organizing business? When are your hours? What are your rates? When do you take payment? What do you do with cancellations? What if you have a client who, I've seen it all. So I've been doing organizing for 6 years, and the structure that the masterclass brought me, the structure and the peace of mind really, that it brought me in my business to be more confident about what I was doing. I can't say enough about, could go on forever with a testimonial of my experience in the masterclass, not only with the girls, they're like my tribe, they're my people, really close with those girls. We've set up Instagram pods where we all love on each other's Instagram posts and make sure we're getting likes and comments that, further us in the Instagram world. We cheer when the others succeed. We're happy for them when they sell a package. We're there for them if something didn't go as they planned. If they're struggling with a client, if they're tired, if they're working 2 jobs and this is their side hustle, we are there for you to support you and be your family and your people who get what this is. Because before Jen created this group, I never had a coworker, and I sure as hell didn't have somebody to talk to about my job that understood it completely. Like, I tell Jeremiah everything, but he doesn't get it. He's not working in people's homes. He's not experiencing the same thing. And while every client is going to be different and every situation is different, you will notice so many similarities between the particular type of client who needs an organizer. And you'll be able to say, like, oh, okay, you're a different client. This is a new situation, but this is very similar to a client I had before named so-and-so, and here's how I handled it, and here's how that worked. So you're able to take your past clients into your new clients, and your experience is so valuable. So if you're just getting started and you don't have experience, you can learn from the masterclass girls. You can ask these questions, number one, before they happen. Emily Sorensen, I think is how you say her last name, but Emily is in this group. She's also in the masterclass group. She deserves a freaking award for the questions that she asks. I will say, be careful that you're not too much of a perfectionist, because don't psych yourself up with your questions and be afraid that all these things are going to happen. Most of the stuff that you ask doesn't happen, but a lot of it has, and I'm able to give her an answer, and so she has that as an experienced answer before she's even stepped foot in a client's house for the first time. She is finishing out her other job pretty soon here, and then she's going to take the dive and go full-time in organizing. So if anybody's prepared, it's that girl, and we have all benefited from all the amazing, thorough questions that she asks in the masterclass, and all of that information is saved in the group. You can search it. You can see everything that any of us have ever asked. Swan, thank you for saying I look pretty. I got that summer sweat glow from Texas, and my girl Dawn knows about it because she was here a couple weeks ago, and we got together for a margarita, and we were sweating. We were sweating in the parking lot. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into it. No, I'm not. One more thing. The other thing about the masterclass. I know it's expensive, but I keep seeing these posts on the group, and I'm not going to say they frustrate me, because they don't. Well, sort of they do. They frustrate me because I have gained so freaking much from this masterclass group, from this free Facebook group, from all of this stuff. 6 years of mistakes I made on my own that I didn't have to make, or that you don't have to make, because Jen put them all together and said, here's the way to eliminate a flaky client. Here's what you do if they don't pay you. Here's what you do if they cancel. Here's how you respond in this email. Here's how you reach out to a realtor. Here's how you network in your town. Here's how you create a luxury brand. Like, she wraps it in a bow and hands it to you. And yes, it comes with a price, because she spent a lot of time busting her ass to package this together. I'm living proof that it's working. I've raised my prices 2 times this year. I can't wait for the next one. Like, Danielle offered an awesome course about subcontractors. I can't wait to implement that. I know I've been saying it a lot, but I really am going to do it. And at that point, I'm able to have my high price for me as the lead organizer and offer a price that's a little bit less for a subcontractor. So that is still affordable to maybe some other potential clients, and then it drives up my value, because if you want to work with me, this is what it costs. And it's not BS. Like, that's what it's costing for me right now. That's how busy I am. And I'm not batting an eye when somebody they're not really questioning my price, but if they did, my attitude, it's not like, oh, take it or leave it. I'm not being like that. But I'm not desperate for the job, because I know how busy I already am. And so I'm like, if they want me to fit them in my schedule, this is what I have to make. This is what it has to be for me to be going crazy. So my point in that is, yes, it costs a little bit of money. This is what Jen does full time now. So we're not just trying to sell you the masterclass. She's adding to the resource library all the time, which is now available on the website. And she's constantly working on things in the group, interacting with people, answering your questions, and creating more content for you. So if you don't want to spend the money to be in the masterclass, if you think about it this way, like, if you're not willing to invest in yourself to be successful, why would a client be willing to invest in you? You are 100% asking the same exact thing to your client. Invest in me so that I can make your situation better. And you want them to believe that they should invest in you. You should also invest in yourself and make yourself the most prepared to be the most successful you can before you step foot in your first client's house. Or maybe you've been doing it for 6 years like me. Now you're that much more prepared for the clients that you step foot in their house after you've taken the masterclass group. Like, I feel like there were like Hollywood lights on my face for the first client I went into after I found Jen and implemented all of her package pricing and like just everything, like the client process, the consult templates. I don't know how to make a damn spreadsheet to save my life. She creates them and she sends me the template, and then it makes it look like I'm a rock star because I'm managing my clients, my business, my hours, my session, my income, and I know what I have for marketing, what I have for my website, what I have, for whatever. It's just important to invest in yourself if you expect anyone else to do that for you. Same goes for your website. It needs to look professional as much as you can. I know there are a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, but we've got awesome help and hacks and tips about how to have a professional-looking website. Don't skimp on that, because if your website's the first thing that somebody else sees, they're going to go, oh, okay, her website looks like it's from the 60s, which is before internet, if you will. So I'm not going to hire her. She's not investing in herself. Why should I? Think about it like that. And in that case, jump your ass into the masterclass yesterday. Okay, now I really am going to jump in. So 5 questions, but really 8 that my clients actually ask me. So this is to help you get prepped for a consult. Thank you for all the likes and the loves. I know I'm like blowing it on trying not to cuss tonight, but I got nervous when I thought I lost my child. So, and I'll come back and check out some comments too. So please do write them down. If you have questions, write them down, and I will come back to them at the end, and maybe somewhere in the middle too, because I always get distracted. And has anyone ever noticed how I always have something in my hand? Like I'm constantly fidgeting with something. I mean, I have a note to tell me not to fidget, but that's who I am. Okay, so number 1 question that I get every single time. People are nervous for you to come in their house. And I'm sure it feels very judgmental. Like I feel nervous when people come to my house, not to come and be my organizer. I feel nervous because they know I'm an organizer. So, my stuff's got to be on point. My bedroom has to at least look like it makes a lot of sense. Oh, Jen says she gives me permission to cuss and chug the beer. Girl, this is cider because I'm a lady. I don't drink no beer. But she did say yes. And I always feel awkward taking drinks because I feel like there's this quiet pause on my end because I can't hear you guys. So the question that I'm getting to is clients feeling nervous that you come into their home. So right off the bat, you have to make them feel comfortable right away. They're going to say, probably on your phone call before the consult, they're going to say it, and then they're going to say it when you get there. Oh, I'm so embarrassed in my house. Please excuse what it looks like. It's such a mess today. Well, it's probably a mess most of the time. Otherwise, why would they have needed to call an organizer? And messy doesn't necessarily mean unorganized. Maybe they need you to work in their office, and what they need help with is paper. So don't assume that they need help with the living room, and the living room is a total disaster. Thank you, Dawn. So that's the question. Is this the worst you've ever seen? So on the phone, I always tell them before I've even seen their house. I do ask them to send me pictures over an email before we talk on the phone so that I can look at the photos while we're talking. So I have some sort of idea, but it doesn't matter what the picture is and what client I've actually had before. I always tell my client, no, this is not the worst I've ever seen. I have always seen worse, and if you don't want to have this negative connotation that says one of your other clients is worse, you can just say, this does not intimidate me, this does not scare me, and this is my truthful answer. This energizes me. I can't wait to get my hands in your stuff. I cannot wait to show you what I can do. I can't wait to show you how your house can make you feel. Or maybe it's not how your house makes you feel, but it's it's how you feel without the clutter. I didn't quite phrase that right, but maybe your house doesn't make you feel great, but the lack of clutter and the lack of disorganized stuff everywhere is what makes you feel great, if that's the way you view it. Nothing scares Layne. I'm seeing some posts. Thank you, Becca. So yeah, it doesn't really scare me, but I've said that in the last month to 2 clients, and it was not actually the truth. I was thinking, oh, how the heck am I going to pull this one off? I know I'm going to, because I see that and I think challenge, okay, accepted. Because it's going to grow you as an organizer. It's going to make your client think you are a superhero, especially if they needed to hire you because it was so frustrating and struggling situation for them. And you're not alone. If it's that bad, you're not going to be going through it by yourself. You're going to be going through it with your client. It's rare that you're going to have a job that's that big where you're all by yourself. So you guys will be each other's support system. You continue to let her know, this is not the worst I've ever seen, or, this is Definitely one of my more difficult jobs, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. I'm not going to go run away. This doesn't scare me. I'm not judging you. We're going to get through this, and we're going to break this down in a way that we can do it in the sessions that you decide to purchase, or we can set up a plan where maybe we do it every couple of months so it doesn't become overwhelming for you, or maybe you're going on vacation, so we start when you get back. But you just ask them to commit to working as hard as you're going to work. That's what I've had to do with my client that... if I have time, I'll share about that one. But this is like, whoo, brand new for me. Every time I leave this house, I feel, I've gone from feeling defeated to feeling energized, to feeling like Superwoman, to feeling like, oh my gosh, when are these sessions going to be over? And then I get these text messages from her over the weekend, and she's like, you have no idea what you've done for our life. My husband wants to invite company over this weekend. They were supposed to go on a work party boat, and it was going to rain. This was 2 weekends ago. It was going to rain in Austin, and she texted me and said, my husband is so happy with the way the house looks. If it rains, he said we can have everybody to our house. To me, the house was absolutely in no way at all ready for company, but the improvement was so big based on where we started that they were proud of their house. And she said, I really hope I'm not bothering you. I hope I'm not interrupting your weekend. I just want you to know what you've done for our family. Thank you for not giving up on us. And we've had a lot of come to Jesus talks. I've had to say multiple times, I need you to put your phone down. I need you to have a babysitter for your kids. Her children are, for me, they're not the typical children. And when they're like that, you need them to be with a babysitter, because it's impossible for us to work while they are also there. So I've had to have a lot of conversations with her where she cries. Almost every session she cries. But when I walked in the very first day, I told her it wasn't the worst I've ever seen. And it was. And I didn't know that at that time. I've known that the longer that I've worked with her. But to get those text messages from her and to feel her gratefulness, and she just embraces me when I get there every day, and she's like, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I know I'm going to have an emotional breakdown, but I'm so happy to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And then after I leave, for like 2 days, she's on fire. And she just does all this stuff around her house. And she sends me pictures of it. And it feels so good that I want to be back there the next week. I go over to her house every Friday. Jenna, my miracle morning buddy, you guys have heard me talk about her all the time. She has been such a saving grace for this client, because every time I feel frustrated or defeated, or, because that happens. I don't always leave and think, okay, life's not perfect for an organizer either. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes it's draining, and I get home and forget that I can leave that at work, usually. I should leave that at work. I shouldn't bring that home with me, because it's something I want to fix, and I want to fix it during the session that I'm there, and you can't fix something like that in 3 hours or 6 hours. I've had to cut back from 6 hours with her, because it's just not as productive, and I'm completely drained by the end of it. 3 hours is perfect for us. So Jenna, that is the kind of client that she wants to specialize in. You deserve a special place in heaven, because I don't think I could have more than 2 people on my client load at a time that are like that. It's just it's incredibly rewarding. I want to say that for sure. And it is therapy. It's absolutely therapy. Darren said that. It's therapy for her, but it has been such a learning experience for me, that at times I think, oh my gosh, I can't believe you felt so defeated. Like there was one day that I wanted to quit, and I was thinking the entire session, how am I going to how am I going to discuss this with her, and how am I going to refund her the time that we're not going to complete? And I'm disappointed that I felt that way at one point, but overall, what I've learned because of it, has been valuable enough that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I have this client. I'm so glad I've gone through this experience. And every client after her is going to be grateful for what I learned with her. And while she's a very difficult client, she's a badass person. She is awesome to be around. And she trusts me, and she says stuff to me like, thank you for saying what you said to me. Thank you for saying the truth when I needed to hear it. And not quitting. She says that every time I come now. Thank you for not giving up on us. So is that the worst you've ever seen? Whether it is or it is not, you need to make your client feel comfortable with you in their home. You need them to feel like you are not judgmental. And I'm not really judgmental. when I'm seeing someone's mess, I don't see it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you live this way. With this particular client, that did cross my mind, but I'm not really judging it. I'm looking at it like, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but this is what popped in my head for the first time. I'm looking at it like a coloring book, like an adult coloring book that needs to be colored. And I'm like, okay, I'm here to complete that task. I'm going to sharpen all my matte pencils because I like a sharp pencil, and I'm going to get to work, and then I'm going to be done. I'm not judging like, oh, I don't really like the shape of that flower. This artist is really not that professional. Da, da, da. I'm seeing the project. I'm ready with my tools to complete it, and I want to check it off the list. I want to complete it for you. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what you need your client to feel like. You need to make them feel like, I got this, girl. This ain't nothing. When can we start? Are you going to work as hard as me? Then we can tackle through this. I go off on rabbit holes. I could talk about this one forever. So whether it is or not, I have this in all caps on my notes. Here's my notes, y'all. This time I got it together. Whether it is or is not the worst you've ever seen, always reassure them that you've seen worse and that their space does not intimidate you or scare you off. So I cannot say that enough, because people do feel like if it's hopeless to them, they're going to think that it's hopeless to you. They don't know how equipped you are. They hope you're equipped. You need to show them that you're equipped. And you need to show up with a smile and a lot of positive energy every morning or evening or whenever you go. Okay, that's number one. Is this the worst you've ever seen? Your answer is always going to be no. But practice this at home. Because when somebody asks you this, if it is the worst you've ever seen, you're like, no, this isn't the worst I've ever seen. They're not going to believe your face. So you need to practice this in the mirror. Work with your friends and practice it. Or, call me. You can do interview practice with me. But you need to believe what you're saying, because your client is looking at you for guidance. They're looking at you for a counselor, for a coach, for a therapist, for the expert. They need all of that stuff for you. So you need to practice your power poses, listen to your Beyonce in your car before you go. I might have been listening to Beyonce when I did my makeup tonight, and Jeremiah came around the corner, and I saw his shadow before I saw his phone, but his phone creeped around the corner of the office, and he put it on his Instagram, I think, on his story, of me dancing, putting my Beyonce on, because that's what I have to do on a Tuesday night for Facebook Live, because I saw 3 clients today, and my ass is tired, okay? So I got to dance to Beyonce, and then I'm ready for Facebook Live. Whatever you need to do to get in the car for the difficult clients, do it so that they can have 100% of you, because they deserve 100% of you. They invested in you 100%. You need to put the same back into them. Okay, number 2. When discussing whether or not they want to be a part of the organizing process, they will usually ask, what do other clients do? So I advertise very clearly on my website that you can be a part of the process. You don't have to be a part of the process. I can do it for you. I love that option. So Jen did my website, and it's super awesome, badass. I love it. I'm so proud of it. So proud of it, Jen. Anybody that even knows me, I'm like, look at my business card. Look at my new brand. Look at my website. Never felt that way about my website before. Definitely didn't feel that way about my business card. And game changer. Masterclass. Game changer. So I advertise on there. The options are like, when it comes to organizing, you'd like, and then there's a couple options. Calming, caring professional, and a cup of tea. Something like this. I'm sorry if I'm botching it. I don't remember the other options, but there's one that's champagne to make it feel like a party, or someone to just do it all for me. That's the one I love. So I never knew how to put that into words on my website, that was an option, someone to just do it all for me. As soon as I did, people responded with that. I just want someone to do that all for me. Every other website I looked at for professional organizers were talking about working together and teaching me systems and holding my hand, and I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that. I want you to come and do it all for me, and I'll pay you and be done. That is my completely ideal client. Everybody's client is different. Like I said, Jenna likes to work with the people who really need the help, who really need their lives and their systems changed. And I do love having those people on my workload. But I love it when you're like, you're the organizing fairy. Come and make my life a dream. And I'm like, I can listen to podcasts. I can listen to Beyonce all day long with my headphones, organizing your closet, doing the thing that I'm the best at. I love that. Working with a client, I can also do really well, but it slows my process down to explain it, to put my madness into words. And if I'm just doing my thing, it really is going to be like an organizing fairy game. So I love that option is there. So when they discuss whether they want to be a part, or when I'm asking that question, so because I want to feel it out and I want to know what kind of energy do I need to bring into their house? Like, do I need to be really patient and therapeutic and have, be thinking that I'm going to have to be explaining a lot of my process, which is totally doable. That's just a mindset that I need to be in versus, okay, autopilot. Because when I'm on autopilot and I'm organizing their stuff, I'm thinking about all the other problems in my life, and it gives my hands something to do, and it gives my brain space to think and come to the solutions that I need, because I don't have to think when I'm organizing their stuff. But if I'm going to be working alongside of them, I need to figure my stuff out first so that I can be present for my client. So I ask them, do you want to be a part of the process? Do you want to work alongside me? Do you want to sort of work together? Do you want me to do it all for you? Do you want to go out of town and come back to your house organized? What's your ideal situation? And they're always going to say, well, my clients always say, well, what do other people do? My clients usually haven't worked with an organizer before. Sometimes they have, but usually they haven't. And they want to know what other people do. Well, what's typical? And I'm the same way. If let's say I'm getting a facial or getting a makeup treatment, that doesn't even make sense. Getting my makeup done, and they say, okay, do you want blue eyeshadow or do you want hot pink? My response is, what do most people do? Doesn't mean I'm going to choose that one. I just want to know what most people do. What's the common response here? So people always ask me that. My response is that participation totally varies depending on the client and depending on the project. So let's say it's, right now I have an awesome client that I had a consult for today. She has to talk to her husband and then she's going to get back to me, but I'm pretty sure she's going to buy 12 sessions. She was awesome. Her house was awesome. She's surprising her husband with a custom closet, because he has 196 pairs of Nike tennis shoes. So she called California Closets, and they are going to install a custom closet, and then the closet designer actually referred me. So usually I bring the closet designer in for my clients, but I've been working with her for a while, networking, and she sent this client to me, which is so awesome. So his closet is already color-coded. It's freaking beautiful. In that case, I don't need to work together with her. I know exactly where to put everything away. I don't have to ask her, does this pink shirt go by this pink shirt? Like, I'm going to color code it. It's going to look awesome. I don't need her to work there for me or with me. And she said, that's so great because I don't have the time to, and I want to do this for him as a gift, but I don't have the time. She's 7 months pregnant. She has 2 other little ones under the age of, 3 and, I guess they're 3 and 2. Yeah, and she's about to have another one. And she's drop dead gorgeous. I'm like, girl, how do you do it? So she is not somebody that needs to work with me. She also doesn't need to work with me in her garage, because she quickly said, okay, well, I wanted to hire you for the closet, but could you do the garage too? I love that you are willing to do it without my help, and that's actually useful to me. That's where a service is really valuable, when you're providing what they need. If what they need is to go through everything with a professional because they are having a hard time addressing it themselves, then what they need is for you to work with them. If what they need is someone to give them more hours in their day, then what they need is for an organizer to come and not interrupt their life and take care of what they asked you to take care of. That doesn't mean you're not going to have questions for them, but you don't have to have them with you throughout the entire session or throughout your entire package. Like, I'll have them there for the first 20 minutes of the session where I ask a couple questions. What are your expectations for this space? Okay, what is this and what is this? And then I'll go, okay, great. If you're going to work, I'll text you if I have any questions. I'll text you a picture of this shirt and say, hey, do we really need to keep this, or does this go in whatever room? And they respond right away because they're stoked that you're there taking care of this thing, this cloud that's been hanging over them that they need to take care of. And then when I wrap up, I always have like a couple piles of questions. So if they're there at the house and I can talk to them directly, then I always let them know, hey, before my session ends, let's have 20 minutes together to recap on the space. And that's where I ask them those questions like, I wasn't really sure what to do with this or with this and this. And she'll go, okay, that goes in my bag. That's my water bottle. This is my lip gloss. That goes in my bra. Because you always got to have your lip gloss in your bracket. And Dawn, I forgot to start it with a lip gloss. Girls run the world, yes. I'm gonna come to questions in a second because I see, or at least comments, because I'm seeing a lot of comments. Thank you, girls. And we're up to 36 viewers. Hey. We're starting to get a lot more people on actual Facebook Live, but a lot of people are watching them on YouTube as well. So everyone who comments and questions, it's really useful because I can interact with your question and then that'll be on the video. And that helps people who are going to watch it later on YouTube or watch the playback on Facebook because maybe they couldn't watch it live. So let me get my train of thought back. That you don't have to work with everybody. Someone remind me here. Oh, and that you'll have some clients who need you to work with them. So you feel that out. You feel out, let's say it's a pantry, but you can tell that they don't have a bunch of stuff that's expired. They pretty much keep it with new stuff, and working with them would, unless they want to learn how to do it themselves, working with them would actually slow your process down. So I would tell them, well, it doesn't look like you have a bunch of expired food, so there's not really going to be a lot of time for that part. I'm just going to be creating a system or adding containers or supplies to your existing pantry and making it better. So my preference or recommendation would say that I can just do this on my own if you don't want to be a part of it. But if you do, you totally could. I'm not going to need a ton of guidance for the pantry. Same with a garage. Like, a garage is a garage is a garage. I know what garden tools are. Put them all together. You put all the tools together. You put the kid toys together. Like, you can do the basic categorizing by yourself. But if they want to hang with you, cool. Teach them everything you know. I think out loud, so it's kind of how my process goes anyways. I just have to make sure that my sentences make sense, because to me they always do. That's why I ask you guys, does that make sense? Margaret, don't worry. We're happy you're here. Better late than never, right? And Karen, welcome to the lives, girl. I hope that I don't disappoint. Okay, I'm going to scroll up and look at some questions. We've gotten through the first two, and maybe I'm going to go way too far, but I'm just going to scroll through and check it out. Everybody's saying, hey, thank you guys. And yes, the pup is safe and sound. Thank you. So far, just people saying hello, because I'm popular. Y'all are my only friends. Okay. Oh, Kathleen. Okay, I think you just posted about this. And you said, tell me if I'm correct, or put a little heart on the screen. You just said that you were going to implement your package pricing of payment in advance. I think you said on August 11th. Is that correct? Was that the same post? Kathleen says, yes, Layne, you are right. I had my hourly client cancel again tomorrow. So done with that nonsense. Yeah, girl. Payment in advance has changed my life. It changes the entire need for a cancellation policy, which for me, I feel like such a jerk asking somebody to pay for a cancellation, because I'm not a corporation, I'm just a person. So it's just me asking for that, and the client doesn't understand. Like, if somebody needs an organizer, they're probably disorganized. The chances that they are double booked one day, or that they need to cancel because they didn't plan for something else in their life, are huge. They're disorganized. So save yourself that headache of having to track down that money, or having someone on your schedule that cancels without enough notice for you to reschedule. Well, you lost that day's money, and if you were budgeting for it, you're screwed. You don't have enough time to schedule somebody else. You may not even have any more clients to schedule somebody else. So if that's your first client and you say this is your side hustle and you took your Saturday off to work with that client and they canceled on you, what a disappointment. Like, it's frustrating for your schedule. It's not organized for you or for the client. And it's really hard for me anyways, it's hard for me to go into a client's house after they've canceled on me time and time again and not be a little frustrated. I can act well, but in my brain I'm frustrated. So you can eliminate all of that and give your client a non-frustrated organizer by saying, I take my payment in advance. It's how you reserve your spot on my calendar. And then you just smile. You just smile and you just wait for them to write you the check, because they will. They will. I promise they will. Okay. So good for you, Kathleen. Yay! David and Rocio, I'm assuming that's Rocio, is taking the class soon. Sis Birdie says, the MC is the investment. Jen rocks all the info, support priceless. Thank you for saying that, because thank you. I totally agree, and it looks better coming from you than it does for me. It looks like I'm plugging it, but I am now, because I'm a believer and because I'm helping out with all of this, but I'm plugging it because it worked for me, and there were 5.5 years of things that I did wrong, and she addresses everything I did wrong, so you don't have to make those mistakes. Okay. Kathleen also says, the business aspect has been the toughest part of this venture. Faux show. Jen's work that she so freely shares with us has really helped a lot. I totally agree. The business part is the struggle for me. Like, I can work with the client all day, or work in their house all day, or organize through a mess all day. The business part, the administrative stuff, is what's really difficult for me. That's where I find her templates and her spreadsheets that she's already customized to be for organizers. I find them incredibly useful, and anything else that I found online, Pinterest type stuff when I was searching small business was like for meal planning or for blogging or for lifestyle stuff and cooking. And not that those aren't really cool, but that's not useful for me, and I need somebody to tell me how to structure my organizing business. How funny is that? I need another organizer to tell me how to organize my business. But it's true. I'm going to close my window really quick because now it's dark and my neighbors can see me. And I'm paranoid. I don't know if that's an organizer quality. Does anyone else get really paranoid? Because I just always am. Danielle says, so true. Investing in your business is important and you will see huge benefits. Danielle is somebody who has invested in her business majorly. She's a boss. She has a great business. She has multiple subcontractors that work under her. She has a course available on the website. It's $99, make you holla, about how to add subcontractors to your business. It's amazing. I have it right here. I have her entire everything you need to have about a subcontractor. Like, you don't have to find that information on your own. You don't have to edit someone else's information and make it work for pro organizing. She already did it. Thank you, Danielle. Oops. Okay. Gabrielle said, due to the times of the MC, I've been unable to join live. However, the information that I have accessed from the MC has been invaluable. I not only feel supported and confident, I know I'm supported. Thanks, Jen, and all my MC sisters. Yes, girl, we are your sisters. I haven't made so that's another thing we do in the masterclass group is we do a masterclass group call, which it's live. It's not on Facebook Live, but it's on a program called Zoom, and we can all be live. It looks like the Brady Bunch. All of our faces are there. Unfortunately, I've only been able to make one call, but they are a lot of fun, and I'm going to be back, girls. I'm sorry that I haven't been there. Okay, keep on going. Oh, I was scrolled back quite a lot, y'all. Okay, so let's see. Yes, okay, Kathleen says, for anyone who's brand new at finally doing this, you will also become a therapist. It is totally part of the job. It is. I've become a better person, learning from other people, asking every mother that I work for how to become a mother. How do you do it all? They share all that stuff. Okay, Kathleen would like to see my business card. I don't know if I have any at my desk. I don't know why this took me so long to figure out, but I've started keeping them in my car because when I run out in my purse, I can refill from my car. So that's where they are, but I'll post it in the group. I also asked it for everybody's feedback when I was finalizing the design, and it's the main part of my website, the header. It's so beautiful. Okay, so they just want to be the lead. So what else do? They don't want to say do it for me. Sis said, so they want to be, they want to be led. When you ask, what do others do? They don't, yes. They do want to be led. They want to be led. She's asking, like, they don't want you to just tell them what to do. They want to be led. So if you tell them, I think you should work for me, if you feel like this would be valuable for you. If it's your dead mother's stuff and you're having a hard time going in her home and working through her stuff, I will go in and help you categorize before, if that's what you need, and then you come in after and help me make decisions, because it is also part of the grieving process. That's somewhere that I would really encourage my client to work with me, because that therapy for her will be invaluable for years. Okay. Melissa says, I prefer the live so much more. I've been missing the past 2 months worth. Girl, I prefer them live too, because it is hard to watch it when you're not live, and it's hard, like, a couple of times when I'm not hosting, I'll be cooking while we're watching, and I've got stuff all over my hands, and I want to comment, and I want to read the comments, so I like watching them live too. Okay. I think I'm getting closer now. Karen has not started her business yet, but she can't wait, and we're here to cheer you on and help you with all of the questions you have, because they're all the same as the ones that we had. I wish Facebook had accents. I would use them to mimic Layne. What do you mean accents? What does that mean, Dawn? Like Southern? Because you already have a Southern accent, and I don't feel like mine is that Southern. Tell me what that means. Okay, Sandy says, so if they cancel, they just lose that day since they already paid? No. Okay, that was my question too, actually, when Jen was first teaching this. That's what I thought too. I'm like, okay, so you canceled, and I blocked that time out for you in my schedule, so you miss one session. That's not how it works. How it works is you trusted me enough to write me a full paycheck for the sessions that we are going to do in the future, and my word to you is that I'm going to reserve those dates on my calendar for you. Nobody else gets that time. If you need to cancel because life happens, things come up, please just give me at least 24 hours notice, and there's no penalty for it. That gives me the amount of time to reschedule someone else or fit someone else in on my waiting list, which is actually starting to happen. I had 2 people asked to get on my waiting list for the next 3 weeks, and it happens. I have cancellation, so it's not totally out there. It's not total diva status. I mean, sort of is, but if somebody cancels, I can say, these are 3 people who asked to get in the next 3 weeks because they have a project that has a time-sensitive situation. So they don't lose the session. You just say, thank you so much for letting me know. It's not a problem at all. They trusted you to give you a paycheck in full. That goes a really long way. You're practically a stranger to them the first day that you are a stranger to them the first day you meet them. So it's your job to make yourself feel like their friend, feel comfortable enough with them so they will write you the check. And I'm not trying to be like, hey, this is all about money, but it is all about money. This is your business. This is how you pay your bills. This is how you pay for your food. This is how you live your life, everything. This is about money, the bottom line. You may also love what you do. That's really helpful. I really love what I do. I'm stoked that I get to do what I love and make money. But at the end of the day, I don't have the time in my schedule to say, let me come over to your house for free for 3 hours, 5 days a week, and you don't have to pay me anything. That's not what this is about. This is about getting a paycheck, doing what you love, and having somebody give you the money for what you're doing, because you will be working your ass off. Like, it's a glamorous luxury job, but you will also sweat your ass off and get dirty and get emotional and get physically exhausted. And in my very humble opinion, nothing else is more rewarding. Okay, moving on. Diana says, I just bring the contract with me on the console and it is written there when the payment is due. I do too. And today I actually said, I don't normally say this, but today I said, hey, if you need to talk to your husband about this, you can get back to me later. I only said it because I'm 100% confident she's going to buy at least a session for at least 12 packages, 12 sessions. I don't know why I can't say that. But I offer a single session. I offer 4 hours, 8 hours, 12, and 24. And I know that she's at least going to buy the 12 because she is pregnant and doesn't want to put the custom closet together. So I know she at least, not that it will take 12 sessions, but after we walk through the closet, she's like, can we go look at the garage too? Can we look at the whatever? And a little tip for you, if you have a client who wants you to come and work in one space, I always tell them I allow 90 minutes for my consult. Let's go ahead and walk through your whole house. We can start with the space that you want to work in, but walk me through everything so you can tell me about your routine. Like, here's what we do in the mudroom. We take our shoes off, we put our backpacks up, and we always lose our homework. So that gives me a little note. I'm like, they always lose their homework. I can think of a way that they can put their homework in one place so that they always find it and they always have it on the way out the door or something. That creates value for me. It tells them I was listening on the walkthrough for stuff that I didn't even think they were going to hire me for. And it gives me the incentive to like really get in their heart so they hire me for more than just that one spot, because I can be valuable in multiple places. But it does teach you their routine. And if you're working in one room, their closet, you're going to find all kinds of stuff that doesn't actually belong in the closet. So you can say, do you want me to, I noticed this and this and this don't really go in your coat closet. That should go in the garage. This should be in the master bedroom. And that's actually a pot for the kitchen. So you can say that and say, that's something we can do after the first session. You can just suggest that. And they will start to have the wheels turning like, oh my gosh, I need her for more than just one space. Because if they have one disorganized space, that's probably not the end of it. Yes, it's Rocio, and you said my name right. Yay! It's really pretty. So happy to meet you too. Okay. Melissa's paranoid about a lot of stuff too. Dude, I feel so left out of the MC stuff. I can't wait until I can actually afford it. Melissa, I don't know what your budgeting situation is, but you need to start putting like $20 a week or something, whatever you can afford aside for the masterclass. You will not regret it, and it will skyrocket your business. After you make your first sale, it will pay for the masterclass. I'm not even kidding. As long as you sell a package, it will pay for the masterclass. Do it. Please don't question it. If anybody else is having that question, start putting your money aside. I'm not saying like, oh, emotionally make this purchase, but start budgeting for it. The money's not just going to appear one day because now you're ready. Like, you have to budget. Take cash out, like Dave Ramsey style. Take cash out of the ATM and put it in an envelope that says masterclass. And if all you can do is $20 a month, doesn't matter. Eventually, it's going to be what you need to pay for the masterclass, and you're going to go, I worked my ass off for this. I can't wait to invest in myself. That is way more valuable than if you just already have it sitting around and you're like, oh, I guess I'm going to do this, but I'm not really going to take it seriously, and I'm not really going to apply all the stuff that I learned in the class. Like, that would be useful. Okay. Girl, make you holla. That's right, Dawn. And Jen does not penalize. My mom always says penalize, and I don't like how she says it. Penalize. And I think you know why. I would say penalize. I don't penalize for cancellations either. Whitney says, Jen, I don't either, but I have 2 clients that canceled this morning on a regular basis, so I need to figure out a better solution since my subcontractors are the ones who usually suffer for it. Girl, Whitney, you got subcontractors? I'm so impressed. I would love to hear all about that. Jen says, yes, totally understandable to alter that policy if you have subcontractors. Danielle talks about how to do packages with her subs in the guide. Of course she does. Everything has already been thought of. And Margaret's having internet issues, so she'll check it out later. I hope that you do. All right, let's move on to the third one. Actually, I have a subcategory for the second one, which is asking like if they're going to work together with you. And if your answer is no, I can do this by myself, the sub question is always, well, how will you know what to do with my stuff without me? And I kind of touched on this already. A garage is a garage, a closet is a closet, a pantry is a pantry. Like, I can categorize. Organizing is never an emergency unless you were hired for an emergency type situation, then it might be. But otherwise, I can ask you those questions later. Ooh-wee, I just saw that it's 8:54. Wow, this one's flying by. Okay, number 3. So how long have you been organizing? People are always going to ask you that. How long have you been organizing? So they don't need to know whether you are their first client, your 50th client, or whether you've been doing it like trading with your friends so that you can have testimonials on your website, like trading free services. They don't really need to know that. What they're asking, they might be asking how long have you professionally been doing it, but you don't have to answer that question directly as long as you give them an answer that you are comfortable with and that they are comfortable with. For me, I've always been organizing. It's something I've done with my nervous energy. I didn't always apply it into my schedule and my routines. That's something I figured out in my 20s when I was in college going, what the heck am I going to do with my life? And I found that it comforted me in the times when I felt out of control of my life. So this was what I could do to control my life. I could keep the pens together and the highlighters together and the pencils together. And that gave me peace. So while everything else may be question mark, I don't know what's going on, organizing for me was something I could control and something I could feel like was structured, at least. Like, I know where my underwear is. I know that it's clean. I know where I hang my t-shirts in my closet. That was one less decision I had to make in the scary overwhelm of being in your young 20s going, what am I going to do with life? Everyone else seems to know what they're going to do, and they had this career, and they went to school to be a vet, and they, oh my gosh, their animal was run over when they were young, and so that's why they wanted to do this. Like, I never felt that when I was a kid. I wanted to get married and be a mom. And while I still want those things, a lot happened for me in between the first year of college and the last. And a lot of that stuff changed. And I had opportunities and I had experiences that made me go, whoa, I can get paid to do this? Whoa, more than one person is going to hire me to do this? Like, I need to come up with a business name. I need to start telling people I'm an organizer. That was hard for me to say at first because I think it's more well known now than it was, but I felt like I was saying this fake job, like I'm a professional organizer. And that's something that until joining the masterclass, I did not feel comfortable telling people that when they would ask what you do, because they're always going to say, what's a professional organizer? No matter who you're talking to, they're going to ask. They're going to think it's event planning. They're going to think it's estate planning. They're going to think that it's like other organizing, and you have to say I'm a professional home organizer, or like I get to go through people's stuff for a living. I get to help create order and meaning out of chaotic spaces when people don't have the time, energy, desire, or talent to do it for themselves. Hi Sierra, happy to have you, girl. Jen says, or Kathleen says she's been organizing since she was a kid, and that's what I tell them. That's what I tell them too, and mostly I just say I've been doing this since, let's see, I wrote down something good. It comes very naturally to me. At some point in my life, I realized organizing calmed me and gave me the control over my life that I felt I was majorly lacking. When there are uncertainties in my life, organizing does not have to be one of them. Strangely, it calms me and it gives my hands something to do, and I kind of touched on this earlier, and gives my brain the space to think and eventually come to the answer that feels right for me. And then I talk about how clients don't need to know if they are your first client. If you believe in yourself enough to start a professional organizing business and to advertise that you are a professional organizer looking for clients to come to you as the expert, you need to carry that confidence with you into their home so that they will believe it too. It doesn't matter if you're their first client ever. I keep messing that up, but you know what I'm trying to say. You need to believe in your abilities to help change their situation and improve their quality of life, whether or not they're your first paying client. You're good at what you do. That's why you're called yourself a professional organizer. That's why you're asking people to invite you and trust you in their homes. Okay, number 4. Do you work weekends? Are you available tomorrow? Can you come today? Those kind of questions happen a lot. And I know for a lot of people that are in this group and a lot of people that get to organizing to begin with, it's a side hustle. So maybe your answer is, yes, I only work Saturdays and Sundays. And they don't need to know that maybe you have another job Monday through Friday. If you feel comfortable and you want to tell them that, then great. But what I'm noticing in the conversations in the groups is that people don't always feel comfortable telling them that they do something else because their client doesn't necessarily take them seriously. Like, oh, this is something she does on the side for money, instead of, oh, this is her main badass thing. And it can be your side hustle and it can still be your main badass thing. So maybe you just say, I work on the weekends to have availability for people who work during the week so that you don't have to take a day off and we can work on a weekend day. Personally, I don't work weekends unless I do this full time, and I don't work a weekend unless it's a client that I already know and love and don't mind spending my Saturday with, or if it's somebody I really connected with on the phone call and the consult and they were in such a crunch they needed me Saturday because their family's coming over on Sunday and it's actually their mother-in-law who they don't get along with, who totally judges their situation. If I have a really good phone consult with them, then I'm like, you know what, I don't normally do this and I'm not going to regularly book you on a Saturday or Sunday, but I will do it this weekend. However, I need your credit card before we get off the phone. Like, I will get that money, girl. I will get that money. So you need to have your answers prepared before you get there, especially if you're new to this, especially if you've never made a sale or maybe you've only made a couple of sales, because if somebody says, well, can you start tomorrow? And actually you really can't because you were supposed to do your own taxes, or you were going to drive your grandma to the zoo, or maybe you were going to sleep in that day, or whatever your plan was that you maybe already had a plan and you end up giving it up to go and organize because you're desperate for that first client. Maybe it's something, maybe it was like you were going to sleep in and that's not really a big deal. Like, you can wake up, that's not a big deal. But if it's something you've already committed to somebody else, or it's something that you really want to do for yourself and you give that time away because you're desperate for the client, you are going to resent that time that you're with that client. Whether you know it, whether she knows it, whether you feel it or not, it's going to be there because you already had plans to do something else with your free time, and you're going to take that into your session with them. So know when you're going to work and know when you're not going to work. If you want to stop working at 4 p.m. so that you can always come home and watch The Real Housewives of New York, then don't take clients after 4 o'clock. I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't start at 5, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. I don't take clients before, typically, I don't take them before 9 because I like to go to yoga in the morning and I have to shower and like become human again before I go see a client. And I also don't like to take them past 4 p.m. because I want to cook dinner for myself. I want to cook dinner for my fiance. I want to have dinner at my house and have time to wind down and, you know, refuel myself for the next day and have some time to myself. If I'm working with a client until 8 o'clock at night, because I've already worked with clients all day long or whatever, I don't have any time for me left at the end of the day. And Jeremiah, my fiance, also says I don't have any patience left for him at the end of the day. And he says, you give all of your love and patience and thoughtfulness to your clients sometimes, and you come home and you don't have any left. So that was a huge eye-opener for me because I wanted to be there for every client. I wanted to say yes to every job. I wanted to stay late if they needed me because I have a Messiah complex and I want to make their house look amazing. But know when you want to work and know when you don't want to work, and have those answers prepared so that when they ask you and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to make a sale, you make a sale that you feel comfortable with and that you're being honest. I'm completely available. I'm available in my schedule. I'm mentally available, and I will 100% show up and be there. Yeah, I don't know, Gabrielle. That's what came to my mind, the zoo. As if your grandma wants to go to the zoo. I don't know. Let's make sure I didn't have something else on there. Yeah, I put, don't be so desperate that you give your free time to a client when you'd really rather be doing X, Y, and Z. Yes, here's a good part. Because ultimately you'll be frustrated with yourself when you work with your client if you would rather be doing something else at that time, or if you're obligated to do something else at that time. Finally, being the boss of you, you can decide when you work and when you don't work, because you are the boss of you and I'm the boss of me. Okay, here's another one. Just in terms of like scheduling your time, if you are working another job, and so maybe you're working part-time and you're doing your organizing sessions when you're not working part-time, that's really good because you know what your set part-time schedule is and you know when you can book your clients. So if somebody buys a package, you can be like, we can work every Wednesday from 12 to 3. That's your spot. They don't have to know what you're doing the other times. Maybe they think you have another client, or maybe you're really comfortable with them and it doesn't matter, and you can tell them, I do this other job, so I'm not available till 12 to 3. The other thing I do is I am now, since working with Jen, or since taking the masterclass, I used to do 4-hour sessions, which I do feel like is a really sweet spot. I love that time. But I am totally not able to do 2 4-hour sessions a day with 2 different clients and have a lunch break and go to the bathroom and drink enough water and, all those things. So cutting back to 3 hours. If I have a big project or a time crunch, I will do 2 sessions in one, which is a 6-hour day, but I'll take a little bit of time for lunch now. I didn't used to do that, and that's when I was becoming totally drained. But that allows me to see somebody from 9 to 12 and somebody from 1 to 4, and I have an hour to get to the next client, chill out in my car, eat my lunch, drink a LaCroix, because I don't have one over here, but I'm always drinking LaCroix. So that's important if you want to see 2 people a day. Another thing to schedule for is consults. I have found it really useful. I have an office day every Monday, so I take care of all my admin stuff. It's when I get back to a lot of my emails. I do answer emails throughout the week too, but if I've got, something I really need to get back to thoroughly and I can't do it over the weekend, or I can't do it during the week when I'm slammed, then I dedicate my Mondays to doing that. And I also try to do consults on Monday. So if I've got an available schedule on Thursday, let's say I have a client from 9 to 12, but I'm free in the afternoon. If I already know I'm free and I know that I don't have anybody on my waiting list, then I'll schedule the consult for that afternoon, especially if it's close by one of my other clients' houses, because Austin is humongous and they could be on the other side of town, and that's not workable for me. That also means you want to ask for their address before you do the consult, so you can Google map it and see how far away it is, if you're going to need a travel fee, that kind of stuff. So I do my consults on Monday for the most part if I can. And then they know, hey, that's the only day I do them. I'm booked up. It provides, or it drives up your value and your availability for them, or your lack of availability. And it structures your business in a way where they're like, okay, so I'll see you Monday. Or maybe Mondays don't work for them, so they need to do a different day. You can figure that out for yourself, but just try to schedule it on the same time every time, so that you know when your sessions are going to be, you know when your consults are going to be, and you're not like driving to someone's house at 9 p.m. for a consult, unless you choose to work after work hours. Okay, my last one, that's not really true, but this is number 5. How long do you think this will take? People are always going to ask you that one, and my best answer for you on that one is the process entirely depends on the client's ability to make decisions. So whether that is this client is totally allowing me to make all the decisions, that's a decision that they have to make. And if they want to be a part of it all, it depends on how quickly they can make choices. Like, yes, I want that there. Yes, I want to get rid of that. No, I don't want that. Yes, you're right. We need a shoe rack. Stuff like that. They've got to make the choices with you if they want to work with you. And that's the best way to save you from not delivering on a time schedule that you give them. If you're like, oh, we can finish this in 2 sessions. Well, you don't really know what they're going to do during those 2 sessions. They may totally like, oh, I just got a private message from somebody in the group. Well, from Whitney. I'll get back to you. You don't know what they're going to do. They could be on their phone. They could be sleeping through your session. That's happened to me before, and I really struggled in the session because I needed the client with me, and I couldn't really make any choices. It was their office, and I didn't know. It was the first session. It was just tricky. So that did count as a session for them. Unfortunately, it was also a learning experience for both of us. Part of how long will this take is, do they want me to create systems and explain it to them in a way that will be lasting for them? That's what I always try to do anyways. Like, what's useful for your routine? Because I'm not going to create an organized closet that makes no sense for you. Like, you're like, yeah, that's pretty, but I'm never going to hang that back up that way. Then I'm not going to hang it up complicated. I want to hang it up in a way that you will do it every day so that you can maintain this system. One of my clients today said that she worked with an organizer before a couple of years ago. And the organizer was not, because I found a pin in her desk that said the organizing company on it. And I was like, oh, I've heard of them. Okay, cool. Have you worked with them before? And she said, yeah, I have. But I wasn't my favorite. They were only willing to work on the spaces that I use the most, and they were only willing to declutter. They weren't willing to go anywhere that's like storage, long-term stuff, to go through those things. They were not willing to create new systems or provide products or any sort of further work. They just worked with you to declutter, and then they leave. So maybe you've totally decluttered your closet, but you don't really know how to put it back together. And that seems simple to us because this is what we do, but that's not simple to a lot of people. That's like our superpower. That's actually difficult for a lot of people. So, and some people just want somebody else to make the decision for them. When it comes to me, I'm planning a wedding and I don't like it. I want somebody else to make the decisions. I want somebody else to go, okay, roses, orchids, or succulents, and I can go, okay, multiple choice succulents. Like, that's what I want. That's what your client wants. So you have to provide that for them and know about products, know about solutions, have that information readily available. Research Pinterest before you go to see your first client so you're prepared with that stuff. Okay, number 6. Sorry, Jen, I know you said 5. Will you throw my stuff out without my knowledge? No, absolutely not. I will never do that. I will text you if you're at work. I will leave a pile for you. I will have questions for you. I will never throw something away that without your permission. Now, as I continue working with you and I learn what is trash to you, and if I, come across the same Verizon bill from 2012 that I already knew we threw out because I taught you how to look at your Verizon bill online and you only wanted to keep 2016 and 2017, then yes, I will throw that away without your direct permission this time. But you gave me permission last time, so I already know this is an okay trash item. And you'll learn that working with your client. You'll learn that routine. That's why when you buy the packages, it's cheaper the more you get, because you know your client. You know their house. You know where their toolkit is. You don't have to ask them every time you have to go take something to its proper place. You know. It's going to become very easy for you. A lot of times you know their life and their house better than they know it. Let me check out a couple questions really quick. Okay, Jen says, this is definitely the career version of being a super mom. Okay, good. So hopefully I won't lock one of my real children in the garage. Is that what you're saying? I hope so. And that was one of your original intentions too. I think we all sort of get to organizing because we need it. I know that was the case for Dawn. She shared a beautiful story with Jen and I that it was something she needed to get back up on her feet, and it brought her back to life, really. And she wants to be able to teach that to other people because she felt like it was hopeless at times. Gabrielle says, my mother made me be organized as a child. So as I got older, it became natural for me. Everything has a place and it's neat. Not to say that it's always the case, but I get it from my mama. Girl, that's true. I always had to make my bed. And as a kid, come on. Like, why? I'm going to get back in it every day. Well, because it looks nice. And it is the first thing of your day that you accomplish. I'm a huge believer in that. Like, accomplishing something right off the bat is motivation to catapult you through a productive day and productive week, just to take care of something in a routine every day. And yeah, no, it's not always in its place because life is messy. But when it's time to clean it up, it already has a home. So you can put it back where it goes instead of opening the drawer and, like, doing one of these and, like, knocking them all in the drawer, Okay. Sandy, she says she had her first session today, and her telling me I'm the expert had me like hearts in the eyes is what this one is. Sandy, I saw your before and after, and I think she was the one that she's your babysitting client too, and not only are you a superstar babysitter for her, now you have shown her that you have this other awesome skill, and tell the world, like, you want her to tell as many people as possible because she's your friend, so she already likes you and she's already cheering for you, and now she believes in you professionally. Like, that is huge. If anybody needs testimonials, ask your friends if you can do a free session for them, or maybe exchange something for them. But what her exchange is I need reviews on my website. I need testimonials. Can I do this for you? I need before and after pictures. And she did, and they're badass, and her pantry looks amazing and so much less cluttered. Sierra was organizing her dad's garage last week and found a really old cardboard bin with my second grade handwriting on it that said Dad's Small Tools. That's so cute. That's so cute. And something where I thought you were going with that before I read all of it was that you found something he was looking for. That happens so often with clients, and they, like, hug my neck. They're so happy that I found this thing that they've been looking for years. And really, I wouldn't have found it if they didn't take the leap to call an organizer to help them get through this mess. So maybe I was the tool that helped them get there, but I didn't really find it. I found it because they called me. They hired me. They committed to getting organized, to finding their stuff, to no longer being in a house where you have to buy duplicates because you can't find the thing that you know is in this house. There's nothing more frustrating than having to buy something that you know you already own, that you just can't find it. So, Sis says, I'm a noticer. I notice everything. Things out of order, people's feelings, squirrels, it's a gift. Lifelong noticer, yeah. Squirrel for sure, me too. But people's feelings, yes. If you're feeling anxious and stressed out, I will take that on and I will feel your anxiety and I will feel your stress as my own, but also as yours. If you're sad, if you're depressed during a session, I'm like super in tune with that. I know when you're feeling sad, and I'll stop what we're doing and we'll talk through it and we'll go through the emotions. And maybe that's a whole nother session, a whole nother Facebook Live, is how to guide people through the emotion that they're feeling at the time. Because you don't know how to put words to what you're feeling a lot of times, and especially if it's a case like I have a client whose both of her parents died pretty close to one another, and she's an only child. And every time we go to address the stuff in her garage that is theirs, it is devastating for her. It is tearful, and it took her a while to cry in front of me, but I started noticing that she would leave the session, not the session, but she would leave the garage and say that she needed to take care of some office stuff inside. And after about the third time she did it, I just sort of followed her in there and asked, is everything okay? I can tell that you're feeling less energetic. I'm sure that you're feeling emotional and upset about your parents. And she's like, starts crying and needs to hug. Like, she did not want to talk about it, but she needed to hug. Got some water, came back out and started working with me. So being there for them, noticing their feelings. If you're not noticing that, you're not doing your job as an organizer. You need to be there for them. Taylor says, what do you wear when you're on the job to be professional enough but comfortable and not in good clothes? That's a great question, girl. That's always the question. So if I'm working in a garage, I'm going to be wearing workout pants, girl, and tennis shoes that I don't care about getting dirty. I mean, I'm not going to wear some with holes in them, but I'm going to wear my ones that are not my favorite, because I know I'm going to get spider webs and dirt and leaves and all kinds of crap, and I'm going to have to throw it in my wash when I get home. I'm not going to wear my brand new pair of Lululemons, but I'll wear my old ones that I don't care about getting dirty or possibly getting snagged or something like that. Another thing, like today, I didn't wear this today, but this is something I probably would wear to a session. It's just a t-shirt that is comfortable. I think it's from Nordstrom Rack. It's high enough. This is something I struggle with a lot. I'm not going to show y'all, but you know what I'm going to say. Like, every time we bend over and pick up stuff, like I'm bending over to pick up stacks of paper, I'm bending over to pick up, toys that go in this other room, my shirt gapes open, and you can get, like, the real deal. You'll straight shot if you're sitting in front of me. So I try to, like, not face my client when I lean down and pick stuff up, because pretty much unless I'm wearing a turtleneck, that's an issue. Or I wear a sports bra that, makes it where it's just not a big deal. But I wear jeans, or they're like capris like this a lot. Today I did actually wear these shoes because I was working in an office and I was comfortable to sit on the floor in them. And I'm really glad you asked that, because I have this total nerd thing that I found. I don't know what it's actually called, but I'm calling it a ladies suspender. And I got this at CVS, and it's that Hollywood tape brand. You know the one I'm talking about? It's like double-sided tape, and you put it like in a dress that maybe was low cut and you need it to stay on your skin and not gape open. So it's basically double-sided tape that you would put down. It's called Hollywood fashion tape, I think. Let me see if I have this package. Oh, yay! Okay. This is the brand, because I have a couple of other of their things. This is the brand that it is. So this is a deodorant removing sponge. This one's a sweater saver. Like, it, takes the balls off of things that get on your, not off of men, but off of the balls that get on your clothes. So this is the same brand, and I'm not obviously wearing it right now, but I have a couple of pants that are jeans. I mean, the thing is stretchy jeans. That's the thing now. Skinny jeans and stretchy jeans. And if you have a booty, good luck getting your pants to stay on it when you bend over 800 times a day at your job, because that's what we do. We have a job that makes us physically fit. It's pretty demanding. So, solution! Lady suspender. I should buy stock in this company. I'm going to show you how to use it. Okay, this is not cute. Please don't judge me. You hook it on one side. You snap. You put it behind the middle one. Okay, and then you come to the last side. Let's see. Sorry. And this is adjustable back here too. Somewhere. Right here is the adjustable. Right there. Look, it's not cute at all. But you don't really see this if you have a long shirt like that. And now when I bend over, alas, no ass crack. Finally. I guarantee you will love this product. My fiance doesn't really think it's sexy, but if you wear a shirt that's long enough to cover your pants when you bend over, you don't have to worry about whale's tail. If you don't know what that is, look it up. You don't have to worry about your crack showing and being the professional organizer who also looks like a plumber. And you can wear skinny jeans because, let's be real, you can't wear real denim if you have to actually bend over and there's no stretch to it at all. So this allows me to look more professional than my workout pants alone, but it still gives me that stretch, and then I know my pants are staying on my hips instead of below all the pretty parts. Okay, getting a lot of love for that one. Yay! That makes me happy because I felt like such a nerd. My dad actually wears suspenders, and so I was really excited to show him because he was like, that's a really smart idea. And I was frustrated that I didn't invent that myself because, you know, all of us have been needing that for a long time. So that's what I wear, Taylor. I also get cute tennis shoes so that I can actually sort of have an outfit. Like, I'd probably wear this with some cute tennis shoes too. And I'm talking about like Converse, which I don't actually have yet, or like some slip-on. They have those platform tennis shoes that are just slip-on. You can get those at DSW. And I think I don't have it in here with me, but I have a suede and nubuck cleaner, so you can keep the tips of your shoes clean and keep the white soles clean so they still look cute, but you're going to get a little bit dirty at work. Because I'm always sitting on my knees, which means my feet are tucked under my butt and they get dirty. Okay, Jenna asks, how do I calculate my travel fee? And do you do it when the client is over X amount of miles from you? So the way I do that, I used to do it 30 miles away from me, and I think that's what Jen does too. But I started figuring out 30 miles in Austin can be a really long drive. It took me 35 minutes to get home from my job today, and I was 15 miles away from my house. So what I do is calculate drive time. If it's over 30 minutes, and if it's 35, I'm not going to charge for that. But if it's 45, I will. So if it's anything over 30, I charge half of my hourly rate for a full round trip. So each session would be $50. So my hourly rate is $100. So if you live outside of my zone, but you still really want to work with me because I'm the chosen one for you, and that has happened, and people will pay it if they love you enough and, you know, if they feel like you're a good fit for them. So my client that I've talked about before, I charged her $600 for travel, and I totally thought she would say no. And she bought my biggest package, and she was like, okay, no problem. And what I did was she got my 24 session package. And with her, we made the arrangement that we were going to do 6-hour sessions only because we needed to power through stuff, and she lives almost an hour away from me. So what I did was $50 per session, which is really 2 sessions since there's 6 hours. So that worked out to $600, make you holla. And then I don't have to worry about like gas eating up my life and gas fees. Okay, Dawn, there's your answer. Gabriella, are you a wedding planner? Oh my gosh. Sandy, her husband is an attorney too and is going to look over my service agreement for free. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, that's super nice. Way to find good friends. Clients finding stuff, always money, an old check that can be reissued. They're always so happy to find money. I totally agree. Sarah is in the house. I don't know how long you've been here, but hey, girl. Okay, Lisa, I've just joined this group, and I'm so happy to have found such a great resource. I'm seriously considering getting into the biz. I'm an obsessive organizer. Being an event planner and living in a tiny apartment in New York has been great training. I'm truly great at all of this in all ways but one, paper. Oh, it's seriously not my forte. Do I need to get super good at this before I proceed, or is it a possibility to subcontract that out? You do not have to get super good at it. I'm getting better at paper. I don't mind paper as much, but digital organizing is not my jam. So what you need to do is either hire a subcontractor that is great at that and that you only call her when you need that particular thing to be organized, so you can like work with the client on all the other things. You call that subcontractor in for that particular session that day. Or you can reach out to your network of organizers, and you're going to have a great, huge network here in this group now, and say, anybody in the New York area that loves paper organizing, when I have a client who needs this, I'm going to refer them to you. You can do it for free, or you can say, when I refer a client to you, I'm going to charge a $150 referral fee, but I will give you that client. You can figure out what works best for you, but you do not have to become talented at that. And you're good at all these other things. You don't have to also be good at that. You are still very valuable in all these other ways to organize people's houses. And not everybody needs paper organizing. So don't let that hold you back from jumping in this biz. This will be our most popular YouTube. Thank you, Jesus. Why? Get super thin socks for Converse. I love me some Converse. Okay, here's another thing I do. I get my socks. I buy one color sock from Costco. They're black. They're all the same. And then I never have to match those little bitches. Little shoe, whatever. I cut half of it off. So like right here where it would be on my foot, because my shoes are slip-ons, but I hate not having socks. So I cut the sock in half, and it just is like a little toe booty. And I don't have anything on my heel, but it keeps my feet from sweating inside and slipping and blisters and all that stuff. So somebody, lots of love from something I just said. I don't even remember what it was. Okay. So yes on the socks. Hey, Miss Sarah. Okay. Kathleen, wait, what was the referral fee you just mentioned? Oh, a referral fee. Okay, so if you, like currently I can't take on a new client right now, which is why I need to be having a subcontractor, but Sarah lives in Austin too, so if ever I have somebody who, like I'm familiar with her website, I'm familiar with her type of client that she likes, what her process is. If I have a client who needs what she can offer, I can send my client to her for free for no problem, or I can say, hey, I've already done the groundwork with them, I've already done a consult with them, I have a client who I can send to you, would you be comfortable paying me a $150 referral fee? You can choose whatever you want your price to be, but if you have laid the groundwork and you really feel like, hey, I want to be paid for what I've done here, like I did that for somebody in Connecticut, and I didn't ask for the referral fee, and I'm pretty sure that client, and I didn't have any connection to that organizer. So for Sarah here in Austin, I wouldn't charge her a referral fee. I'd be like, hey girl, I'm glad you're in my network. You make me look like a badass because I have somebody to send this person to, instead of saying, oh, I don't have any time in my schedule. Then I can send her to another Austin organizer who is in my network. That makes us look friendly. That makes us look professional. But the Connecticut person, I didn't know. And I'm pretty sure that client is going to spend at least $7,000 on sessions, at least. So if it's somebody that you don't know and it's not, it like wouldn't be offensive to them, there's nothing wrong with professionally asking for a referral to hand deliver them that client. And now you say you only pay the referral fee if the client books with you. So you just have to hope that they are going to be trustworthy there. I've done that with another organizer here in Austin, and she was totally cool with paying the $150 because I'd already done all the groundwork with the client, but the client actually hasn't booked with her yet, so she hasn't paid me. I don't know if she will. The client had just had a baby, so her hands were full in more ways than one. Okay. My last question that I have is, how do I know you won't flee after I pay you? Somebody asked me that because some of you loyal followers know that I'm getting married next May, and then, I don't know, next fall, we're kind of talking about moving to Montana because that's where my honey loves. He lived there for 11 years, and that's where he's spiritually fed, in the mountains, and he's a wild game hunter. So I told that to one of my clients before she booked me, and she was like, okay, so I'm about to buy your biggest package. I'm about to hand you a check for $3,600, and you just told me you're going to move to Montana. So how do I know you're not going to take my check and move to Montana? And I was like, well, great question. That's the first time somebody's asked me that. And I hadn't been doing my payment in advance for very long, but when she asked me that, I had to come up with a response, right? And so what I've come to, the agreement I've come to with Jeremiah too, is as long as I'm selling packages, I'm going to stay in Austin. And then once we decide to move, I will, 6 months out, I'm going to contact all of my clients and say, hey, here is my move date, because they all know. Obviously, I don't have any secrets. I'm not a shy person, so they all know what I'm doing with my life. And I'm going to say, here, we've finally chosen a date to move. We got 6 months to finish out your packages, or buy more if you want. This is the time I have available. I will commit myself to finishing with my existing clients instead of taking on more work, so that, I hold up my end of the deal too. Speaking of paper and what we're great at, this is from Tessa. I organized a flooring company's owner's office, and their showroom. Ooh, that'd be fun. Wait, hold on. I clicked on the wrong thing. By comparison, I loved the playroom organizing so much more and would love to subcontract for other POs who don't love organizing children's spaces. Have an educational background in early childhood development. Holla! Love that part at the end, girl. Holla! And that's really important because if you don't know how kids are going to use a play space, then how are you going to properly design a play space for them? Unless you have taught preschool or you have tons of nieces and nephews or just friends with kids or you like playing with kids and so you know how they play with toys, then you maybe aren't necessarily the perfect person to create a playroom for them because it needs to make sense for their creativity, what they can reach, what they're going to play with, what makes sense for them in terms of putting it back. Like, it can't be super detailed for a kid. It needs to be, this whole drawer has Hot Wheels cars so they can put them all in there, that kind of thing. So that's really cool, Tessa, and it's awesome to know your strengths. Maybe you even add that to your website. Some people have like everything that they specialize on their website. I personally find that really overwhelming because it looks like you're just trying to offer everything. If you just, I think less is more on your website, and then they can ask you, do you do this? Okay, so I'm going to wrap up, I promise. It's almost 9:30. It is 9:30. I just have a note of this because I did some research on like other things that people have put on the internet about asking organizers questions. So people have not asked me this before, but people have said this in the group. They've asked this, like Emily, the girl who I told you asks all the best questions. She asked if people ask if you're insured. So I am insured. I have insurance and I'm bonded, so that is something that people like to hear, but I don't put it on my website anymore, and I've never had anybody ask me about it. I also haven't had to use my insurance, but I'm glad it's there in case I do. So people don't call me and say, well, are you insured? This was actually a resource that I found written by an organization of organizers, and I feel like it's biased to that organization, so here's why I want to tell you about it, because these are not required, and people have not asked me some of these, and even if they did, you could still answer confidently, and it doesn't have to go along with this. So people have never asked me if I have references, but if they did, I would have no problem directing them to a past client or even a past employer. Somebody had asked about that in the group recently because they didn't have any organizing clients yet. So you can say, hey, yeah, this is my old boss. They love me. I'm on time. I'm prompt. I'm whatever. But there's a fine line there, too, because you know, if you don't have any references on your website yet, ask your parents or ask your friends to write a review for you that's in good faith and they know that you're good, but you need to have something on your website. Because if somebody's like, oh, well, can you turn in some references? I think there's a fine line of you're my employee versus I'm hiring you as the expert. So make sure that you deliver it as, I wouldn't be advertising myself as a professional organizer if I didn't have references type of thing, if that makes sense. Okay, so these were the questions from the other organization. It says, what are your areas of expertise? And that's, okay, that one's really not bad because it could include clients or children with ADHD, time management, wardrobe, closets, financial matters, computer-related challenges, speaking, coaching, writing, home staging, relocation. If they ask you that, you can tell them some of the projects you've done, some of the stuff you love working on. But I would, if they asked what's your expertise, I would first say, what are you looking for? I can do anything. What are you looking for? And then tell them, yes, I've done a project like this. I've done a project like that. A lot of my answers in the beginning were, like somebody said, well, have you done a garage project like this before? My answer was yes, but it was always for my mom. Like, she's been my guinea pig client forever. Her house is full of stuff, and she got a big house, so I really have done all that stuff, but the client was said mother. But yes, I would say I have done that. Here's what I did. Here's what I found useful. Here's what didn't work, vice versa. Melissa's saying, I scrolled away, but I think she said, the clients ask, are you in NAPO? Yeah, I've never had a client who knows what that is, and I've also never had a client who asked me what that was. And if you get that question, have your answer prepared. No, I chose not to be a part of NAPO, but I'm in this other group, Pro Organizer Studio. Say that right away. You don't have to say that. You don't have to say that you're in any organization. But come up with a reason why you're not in NAPO so that doesn't divert them. I have plenty of reasons from my own experience, so I'm full of responses if you want to talk privately about that. So here's a couple other ones. Are you a certified professional organizer? Okay, most people in the world don't care about the letters behind your name unless it's MD, CPA, PhD. I mean, nothing else is coming to mind. So What the H is a CPO? Nobody outside of the organizing industry knows what that is. Nobody. And what it is means that you have done a lot of classes, you've done a lot of certifications, you've paid for a lot of classes, and you've sat in a classroom with a lot of other people who are paying for these classes. And yes, you can learn specialty things. Yes, there are a lot of tools that you can learn when you are certified. But they're not required. You don't have to take this class to prove that you are good at what you do. Organizing is never an emergency. You don't need somebody who went to 18 years of school for organizing. People just need somebody who can help them stay above water in their house sometimes. Or I just need to get this done. Or my ex-husband is going to get full custody of my kids if my house doesn't look presentable. That is what people care about. They don't care about a BS certification. Excuse me, but I feel really strongly about this one. Okay, moving on. Are you insured? Like I said, I've never gotten that question, but I do think it's important for you to be insured and know what your insurance is if they ask you that. But again, no one's ever asked me that. Sometimes I offer it up on purpose because I'm very clumsy and occasionally I'll trip through somebody's door and I just always say, that's what the insurance is for. Or, I've never dropped anything at a client's house. I don't think I've done it at a paying client's house. I've dropped stuff at my mom's house, but usually I'm too nervous. Okay, here's another one. Do you attend conference or teleclasses that stay abreast of current trends and techniques? Okay, well, here's your teleclass, so you can tell them yes. Conferences, in my opinion, huge waste of money, a lot of competition. Yes, you can network. Yes, you can make friends. I don't think you need a conference to stay abreast of current trends and techniques. And what is that legal jargon anyways? You can stay abreast on Pinterest. We live in the digital age. That's how you stay abreast. That's how you know what the current trends and techniques are. You follow other organizers on Instagram. You're active in Facebook groups like this. You don't have to go to this said conference to learn everything there is about organizing. And I thought you did. I really thought you did. I thought nobody's going to believe me. I'm not going to be prepared. They're going to ask me if I've done these things. No, they're not. I promise they're not. And if they do, call me and I'll handle it because they won't. Do you have local references? Again, nobody has asked me that before, but it's not a bad idea to maybe, you're going to make best friends with your organizing. You really are. You have to know that they're a friend on some level, but they're still a client, so don't cross that line. But if you've got somebody who's a repeat customer who loves you and tells you every day that they love you and how so awesome you are with their house, you can call them and say, hey, what's up, Jen? I have a client who's looking for references. Can you please vouch for my service in your house, that I'm prompt, that I'm trustworthy, that I'm all of these things? And they're so happy to do that for you because of what you've done at their house. Sometimes people are so grateful for what you've done that I think they forget they paid me. I'm like, you're welcome, but this is mutually beneficial, but you are welcome. You're paying my rent, so thanks. And, they usually think that's funny. Okay, do you belong to any professional organizations? In parentheses, this particular blog says, I would not hire a professional organizer who is not involved in some type of professional organization or group. To me, a professional affiliation demonstrates not only commitment to her field, but another way to check her out among other business-minded individuals. Okay, there are parts of that I agree with, and there are parts I don't. I do appreciate that it does demonstrate a commitment to your field. That's the only part I agree with. And in that same way, your professional organization could be a group of people that you follow on Instagram that you communicate with, you interact with, they respond to, they tell you, oh my gosh, where'd you get those bins? Here's where I got them. And you ask them the same thing, and you are growing your network in a friendly way with other organizers instead of competing with your direct network and your direct competition in a way that, for me, seems friendly but was completely competitive. It was not my cup of tea. Or we can be your professional organization, Pro Organizers Studio. Even if you're just in the Facebook group, it doesn't matter. You're a part of us. We're a part of you. We are your tribe. Okay, that's all I have. That's the end of it, y'all. 9:37. That's a long one for me lately. I've been keeping it at an hour, but, had a lot to say, and I was excited to be with everybody tonight. So, to recap, on a side note, I'm still looking for an organizer in Houston and an organizer in San Marcos, so I can send you to my potential clients. Please private message me if you're interested in either of those. And I'm going to send your information to my client so they will have the power to reach out to you, and I'm not connecting anyone directly or playing favorites because you're all my favorite. Okay, we need a secret handshake for our professional organization. I agree. And we are your tribe. I totally agree with that, Tessa. That makes me want to cry. Okay, let's think about a secret handshake. Well, let's be accepting suggestions. Make a video on the group. Everybody can post a video in the group. I don't think you can go live, but you could do a video on your phone and then post it to the group of what you think the handshake should be. Practice it with somebody. I don't know if that'll actually catch on, but I would totally do that. I have a secret handshake with my sister and with my dad. With both sisters and with my dad. Thank you guys all for watching me tonight. We still have 26 people. I know some people have gotten on, logged off, and whatever, but spending your Tuesday night with me is always so flattering because it's Tuesday night and it's your time, and I appreciate that you spent it with me cussing like a sailor and talking about weird random stuff and listening to what I have to offer, because I do feel like what I've been through is valuable, and client interactions are valuable, and if you are prepared to go in there confidently and you make that sale, what you're probably not prepared for is how much your client is going to affect your life and how much they're going to change your life and make you a better organizer. So give yourself that opportunity to kick some ass in your consult and get the client, and then make yourself grow, make your business grow, make your personality, your self-awareness, your ability to help others. Everything explodes from there. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the love and for the comments. And if you have any other questions, comment here. Put it on my private message. I'm also, somebody asked me if I was putting together my supplies list from a Facebook Live I did a while ago about my professional toolkit. And I'm sorry I didn't follow through with that. I am working on it. I have most of it down. I just need to double check, cross-reference it with what's actually in my toolkit. And then I'll post that. I think it's going to probably be available in the resource library or wherever Jen decides. Thank you guys for joining me. Stay fresh, stay classy. Always keep your lip gloss in your bracket. Good night.